Oh man, what a Tuesday. What a Tuesday. You guys, I gotta be honest with you. All right, I got a tweet. What's up, Joe? All right, guys, sorry we're late. I overslept a little bit, admittedly, and then at the last second when I was all ready to go, I spilled some coffee. So, you know, uh when it rains it pours, right? Isn't that what they say? Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late. Yeah, like I said, overslept a little bit and then spilled coffee. I was like, I'm gonna make it count. When it rains it pours in Ron world. So we are late. So we'll just go a little later. That's how it happens. We've been late before. I think the most I've ever been late, I've been 10 minutes late before. That's the most I've ever been. 10 minutes. We're almost at 30 people. But you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to grab the guitar. We're at 23 right now over on the live me. I'm going to grab the guitar, play the theme. We're just going to kick right in because we have a lot to talk about. Good day. How's that daylight savings treating you? I mean, I overslept this morning. I don't think that has anything to do with daylight savings. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not really treating me one way or another. It's just something that is. What about you? Get your news on with Ron. Just wanna know what's going on. Get your news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Just wanna know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Just wanna know what's going on. Getting our news on today. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Holy shit. Right? Oh, we're demonetized. We're probably demonetized already. I just cussed. We're probably demonetized, YouTube. Sorry about that. Look what happened. We are late today. I apologize. My hair's a little bit heady. It's because I overslept. And then I spilled coffee. I made it count. I was like, I'm just gonna kick this all over. That's what I'm gonna do. Guys, so let's do, first of all, good morning. Happy Tuesday. We're just rolling right along. You guys have already sent in articles, so we'll get to it right away. Also, a few quick updates. You guys remember Friday's interview with John Pelzer? At times it got a little heated. At times I didn't really feel like he did. He was very accurate or fair in his answers. I thought he wasn't honest with me at one point because I guess he wasn't. On the YouTube comments, he disagreed with that. I haven't read all the comments yet, but on the one clip where he talks about supporting, where he claims he supported Bernie, but then it turns out he voted for Hillary twice, he disagreed with my assessment that he lied about that. And I haven't read the comment yet. Now, overall, I thought John did a good job in the interview. I thought that he really screwed up that part. And I hope that in the future, he's better prepared to handle something like that. Because if you're going to have this very progressive policy like he does, yet you have the past that he does, you're going to get people that are going to ask you, hey, what's the deal with that? How can we? And there's a lot of ways he could handle that. There's a lot of ways he could address that. And he chose the worst possible way, which is lying. That's not my fault. That's not my doing. That's something he chose to do on his own. And he should be better prepared for that situation. The way he chose to handle it is not my fault. It is not my fault that he said to my face, I supported Bernie, when that was a lie and he knew it was a lie. And then he backpedaled on it. And now he's in the YouTube comments saying he never lied, where there is video evidence of him lying. I don't know who his advisors are, but if any of you guys are watching this, I'd recommend just trying to handle that situation better in the future. That's there are 15 clips from that interview. In a lot of them, he looks great because on a lot of answers, he was absolutely great. In one or two of them, he doesn't look so great. And mainly one, actually. It's mainly the Hillary thing, where he doesn't look so great because he could have handled that question differently. He chose not to. That's not my fault. That was a choice he made. If he wasn't prepared for that, well, sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But it was nice he came out, but not cool to do it. That's what Kimmy says. I agree. And in the end, I thanked him. I was like, hey, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for coming clean. So anyway, I don't want to dwell too much on that. But, you know, he's in the comments. And I saw his comment. I haven't responded to it yet. But, you know, it's one of those things. Own your mistake. Own the fact that you screwed up. And be better prepared to handle that situation in the future. That's what I would do. All right. So this is from Mick Resistor, and we're going to start with this. I'm going a little bit out of order. Abby, you sent something in as well. But Mick Resistor, it's kind of like you read my mind here. Because I actually recently did something about this. All right. This just got to get your news on with Ron retweet. 11 mayors applauded for refusing to do business with companies that don't support net neutrality. Town by town, city by city, local leaders are taking back everyone's right to connect and communicate. As advocacy group and open internet defenders in Congress continue their efforts to repeal the Republican-controlled FCC's attack on net neutrality, the mayors of 11 cities have signed a new pledge vowing to refuse to do business with ISPs, internet service providers, that don't support net neutrality. The city's open internet pledge, this was introduced by a couple different mayors, and you can go to mayorsfornetneutrality.org. Free Press is coordinating this petition. So somebody else said to me, hey, Ron, what's an update with net neutrality in Pasadena and municipal internet in Pasadena, your neighborhood? What have you been up to there? Yesterday, I emailed my mayor, and I encouraged him to sign this petition. I have not heard back from him as of yet, but I emailed my mayor, and I said I'd like it if you supported this. And here, I'll go to the exact thing I sent, and I'll read the exact thing I sent, and you guys can tell me if you like it. Mayor Tornick is my mayor's name, by the way. So here we go. Dear Mayor Tornick, this is Ron Placone. I was at a city council meeting on January 29th and was one of the people who spoke for the cause of municipal residential internet in Pasadena. As I'm sure you are aware, the net neutrality issue is a very pressing and serious one here in the United States ever since the Trump FCC repealed it. I am fortunate enough to work for an internet-based news show that has a sizable and growing audience. Since the January 29th meeting, I have received inquiries, both national and internationally, from people wanting to raise the question for municipal internet in their communities, and we have viewers from all over the world rooting for us to make this cause a reality. Recently, freepress.net started a new campaign calling on mayors to sign on for net neutrality in their communities. I am requesting that you sign on to this cause. And then I provided him a link, mayorsfornetneutrality.org. Pasadena is the ideal community to set an example not just for California, but for the country. I look forward to continued work with you on this cause. So that's where my net neutrality fight is at right now. I sent this to the mayor. We are supposed to get the cause for municipal internet on a council agenda, on a municipal's agenda. We're supposed to get that soon. They said that either the beginning of April or the end of this month. I followed up on that recently. I'm waiting to hear when it will be put on an agenda. When it is put on an agenda, we're going to be announcing it on this show. We're going to be announcing it on the Jimmy Dore show. And we're going to try to get as many people as possible from the area we can into that meeting to show support for the cause. And in the meantime, this is another thing you can do. Take it at the local level too. Have your mayor sign on for net neutrality. Try to get your mayor to sign on for net neutrality. It's a lot easier to access a mayor than it is to access a congressperson or a senator. Write your mayor. And if I don't hear something soon, I'm going to call my mayor. And if I don't hear something soon from that, I'm going to call again. And if I don't hear something from that, I'm going to show up to another city council meeting. And I'm going to talk about it in every public platform that I can. Because I really want my community to do something about this. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make that a reality. And I know a lot of you are doing the same in your communities, which is freaking awesome. And we're going to win this thing, but we got to freaking take it seriously. Feinstein says Gina Haspel has been a good deputy director of the CIA after blocking her in the past for torture, destroying evidence, and extraordinary rendition. David Hildebrand sends that. Also, Dianne Feinstein doesn't like single-payer healthcare. Dennis from Germany, I am afraid for my safety with Pompeo, and because he expressed in the past he wants a holy war as a Muslim, I think I have to prepare myself even more, or am I overreacting? Sorry to hear that, Dennis, and I certainly hope – no, I don't think you're overreacting. When people talk about war, that's it's usually something to be pretty alert about. Speaking of alerts, Bobby points out, hi from Scotland. I'm not getting any alerts for the start of this show. Bobby, unfortunately, that is very typical. YouTube does not notify people. YouTube unsubscribes people. Over at the Jimmy Dore Show, we get emails literally every day of people being unsubscribed from the channel, people not getting notifications when we drop stuff. Over on this show, of course, I'm not near as big as the Jimmy Dore Show, but I get emails on the regular, too, of people saying, I got unsubscribed, people in the comments pointing out, I got unsubscribed. So that's totally something. Dennis also says, Iran never invaded other countries since its founding. It was always attacked. Just saying, okay. Thank you for sharing. And yeah. All right. So let's see. This is from Abby. Let me go ahead and give it a Get Your News On With Ron retweet. We'll go over to the Reddit as well. Joe points out that he got unsubscribed yesterday from the show. Winkle, thank you for the sunny face. Very much appreciated. All right, so this is from Abby. Jeff Bezos eats iguana, vows to make space travel cheaper with Amazon lottery winnings. Is this a, I think this is a satire article? Is this for real? I think this is a satire article. I feel like it's got to be. It was a black tie evening of glamour, champagne toast, and lizard flesh. Okay, yeah, it is. At the annual Explorers Club dinner gala this weekend, an Amazon founder was one of the guests of honor. The Explorers Club has been promoting scientific inquiry and adventure for over 100 years, and it meets regularly and hands out awards to astronaut, physicists, anthropologists, and other pioneers. But Bezos received the Buzz Aldrin Space Exploration Award for his work as the founder of Blue Origin, an aerospace company that hopes to lower the cost of space travel. The price of admission to space is very high. I'm in the process of converting my Amazon lottery winnings into a much lower price of admission so we can go explore the solar system. Fixing problems on our home planet has inspired one of dinner's most notable features. Each year, a master chef cooks up a menu comprised of invasive species to highlight ways in which our diets can be more sustainable. This go-around featured tarantula, cockroach, and roasted iguana. And reader, Bezos was having the iguana. This might not... Actually, I take this back. I think this might be a real article. I think Jeff Bezos got a space award, and I think he was making a joke calling his Amazon... I guess winning the lottery means being a totally exploitive, predatory capitalist. That's what he means by winning. Man, what a... Talk about tying up and put it on a bow on it. I exploit my workers. I exploit cities. I exploit countries. I won the lottery, you guys. I really won the lottery, and I'm going to try to make space exploration easier. I mean, eventually we're just going to deplete all the resources here on Earth, right? We are a walking virus with shoes, and I'm a predatory capitalist, so I don't think it's a bad thing that we're completely exploiting this Earth and people. So we got to get into space, guys. Why do we want to get into space? To pursue peace all around this total universe, to find out if we're alone on this planet or on this in this big universe? No, because there might be more shit out there we can exploit. There might be more resources to exploit. That's why someone like Jeff Bezos wants to go to space. There's more stuff out there for him to exploit, potentially. That's what they think in terms of. They don't think in terms of exploration or meeting other species or finding other signs of life or somehow maybe getting a step closer to utopia. They think in terms of there might be stuff we can exploit it and make more money. But Jeff Bezos ate an iguana to have more sustainability here on Earth. He did his part. He's eating an iguana. His company exploits labor. It exploits resources. People that work for him don't make a living wage. Cities don't really benefit from them being there. Ask anybody in Seattle how good Jeff Bezos is for a local economy. Go ask somebody in Seattle. Ask somebody in Seattle. I have friends that live... I used to live in Seattle. I have friends that are moving here to Los Angeles because they think rent's the same. Why should I stay up there? Rent's the frickin' same. It's Silicon Valley up there now, thanks to Jeff Bezos. The neighborhood I used to live in, all the businesses there have been completely gutted. Bezos eats iguanas and resources. I seriously thought that was a satirical article. Like it seemed like it could have been a fake headline, you know, like Bezos promises world domination after biting the head off a snake. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be the satirical article I write. Bezos promised world domination after biting the head off a snake. This is from Marcus. Canadian couple who lost foster children over Easter Bunny win legal battle. Okay. This is a feel-good story, maybe, I guess. A Canadian couple who refused to lie to their foster children by telling them that the Easter Bunny was real should not have them taken away, a judge has ruled, okay? Devout Christian Francis and Derek Barr sued the Children's Aid Society after the agency removed their 3- and 5-year-old and closed their foster home. The CAS took the decision after the couple, who are Reformed Presbyterians, told caseworkers they did not believe in celebrating Halloween or lying about Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. The Barrs had agreed to buy the children Easter outfits and to organize a chocolate egg hunt in their home, but refused to tell them that the Easter Bunny was real. The couple took the organization to court in 2017 after their foster carer status was revoked, arguing the requirement was a violation of their religious beliefs. So their religion believes that the Easter Bunny is real? I don't know any religion that believes the Easter Bunny is real. A judge has now sided with the couple, arguing that the CAS's actions interfered substantially with the bar's religious beliefs. In a damning assessment of the organization, Justice Andrew Goodman said, there is ample evidence to support the fact that the children were removed because the bars refused to either tell or imply that the Easter Bunny was delivering chocolate to the bar's home. It is not the first time that the CAS, which is a taxpayer-funded child... Okay, so this isn't a feel-good story. This is just, in my opinion, a ridiculous story. So they're not letting these people become foster parents. Oh, wait, they won. So wait, who? All right. Okay. Oh, I get it. The society removed, and they won their case. Oh, okay. It's their religious beliefs that were violated. Okay, so they did win this case, which should have never been a freaking case in the first place. Who gives... Okay, so this bar couple were foster parents. They refused to tell their kids that the Easter Bunny was real because, spoiler alert, the Easter Bunny's not real. And they got their kids taken away because of that. Because that's absolutely ridiculous. They're saying, what was the reason again? Why they said that? They just did it. They just said, like, well, you're not fit foster parents if you're not gonna... Wow, okay. That's so ridiculous. I guess my parents wouldn't have been fit foster parents according to this organization, because the way my parents would always do it, when I would ask them, they wouldn't straight up tell me no or yes. I mean, eventually they told me, but by the time they told me, I was old enough to know, like I was old enough to know it wasn't real. But when I wasn't old enough to know that Santa wasn't real, that the Easter Bunny wasn't real, and I still kind of believed in it, I would be like, well, so is it really real? And my parents would be like, well, do you think it's real? And they'd be like, whose lap did you just sit on? The Easter Bunny's? Well, okay. Like, that's what they would do. They would never straight up say yes or no. They would kind of... And if I were a kid, honestly, I'd do the same freaking thing, probably. I'd do the same thing. I'd be like, well, what do you think? Like, do you think it's real? Yeah, I think, all right, then. If in your heart it's real, I guess, you just sat on Santa's lap, right? Well, was that really Santa or was it a helper? What do you think? I mean, let the kids enjoy a little bit of innocence. But yeah, you don't necessarily have to lie to them either. That's the go-to. As long Kimmy is a parent, she vouches for my strategy. That's the go-to. As long as you believe. Do you think it's real? What do you think? You on board? All right. And then eventually you kind of tell them the truth, My parents eventually were just like, yeah, it's not real. I'll never forget that. It was my 23rd birthday. And they broke it to me. They were like, hey, Ron, I know this is going to blow your mind. So I have no idea why these parents were punished in the first place. I'm glad they got their kids back. I think it's a shame they had to take the religious beliefs route with it. Like, oh, this violates our religious beliefs. Why couldn't they just say, we believe in telling our kids the truth, and the way we decide to go about this is none of your business. Our children get holidays just like every other children. They have joy and they are loved, and that's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know why they had to say this violates our religious beliefs. I'm glad they won this court case. I think it's really sad they had to take that route. That's why when I was reading that, I was like, wait a second. Like, I was like, is another couple involved? And I missed that in some paragraph. Like, that's why I got thrown off. So I'm like, why did they have to take the religious beliefs route with this? Why wasn't the court just like, yeah, this is ridiculous that we would ever do this? So thanks for sending it, Marcus. I guess it's like a pseudo feel-good thing, Let's go to the chat here before going on to the next article. I sent you an article on Twitter. All right, I gotta try to get to that. Amazon is just another Walmart. Brianna says, yeah, pretty much. D. Martin, I live in Seattle. 6 rent increases in 6 years. Yeah. And I love Seattle. Don't get me wrong. I freaking love Seattle. I'm just saying, I saw a buddy of mine from Seattle that's moving down here. I was with him Saturday night. And he said, yeah, dude, my rent is unaffordable now. It's completely nuts. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. He said that. Pat points out the Easter Bunny is not a religious symbol. Agreed. Both parties are national security risks and make us less safe. Dems increase military spending for Trump to $700 billion versus $595 billion, more than all the other countries combined. All right. So thanks for sharing that, Marcus. And Forever Voting Third Party points out that if I was 23 when my parents told me there was no Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, that means I would have been 23 years old. Or excuse me, the year would have been 1929. Excuse me, the year would have been 1929. Because you guys know I've been 27 since the year 1933. You guys know that. That's a thing that that people know. I guess I'll do the song, right? I know sometimes the songs sound like shit on YouTube because it clips. But you know what? I'm supposed to record today. Oh, Chris. Chris says Vancouver is nuts when it comes to real estate right now. Forget Seattle. All right, Chris. Now you're crossing the line, buddy. No, just kidding. But Vancouver is like one of my favorite places in the world. I love Vancouver so much. And part of me really wants to retire there someday. Forever Voting Third Party requests the Revolution song. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. I will do 27 since 33 and the Revolution song to end the show today. So we'll end on a couple tunes. And in the meantime, I'm going to coffee up so I can be fully awake. David recommends a book to me. There was a new book on the military history on the internet called Surveillance Valley. I will have to check that out. Thank you for letting me know. And, oh, man, you guys got a lot of articles. We got a lot of stuff. All right, this is from Joe. I'll go ahead and give it a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. Okay, UK could pull Russia's RT off the air. The United Kingdom might be pulling RT off the air. UK regulators could revoke the license of Russian state-backed television network RT after Moscow was linked with the attempted murder of former double agent Sergei Skripal. Prime Minister Theresa May said Monday that a weapons-grade nerve agent developed by Russia was used to poison Skripal. It was either an act by the Russian state or Moscow had lost control of its nerve agent, she added. So why are you punishing a media outlet? Okay. Hours later, UK media regulator Ofcom said it would consider whether RT was fit and proper to hold a broadcast license once the government had more information. In a second statement on Tuesday, the regulator said it had warned RT that it would carry out our independent fit and proper assessment on an expedited basis if UK authorities conclude that Russia was behind the attack. Some lawmakers told May on Monday they were concerned that the network was functioning as a propaganda outlet. RT is owned by Russian state-owned news agency RIA Novosti. RT's UK broadcast licenses were granted to the company's television division. RT has a very small viewership in the UK, but members of parliament have frequently appeared on the channel, so I guess they're Russian spies too. Ofcom has revoked 10 broadcasting licenses since 2003. The most recent was in 2017 when a radio station was pulled off the air for broadcasting hate speech. The regulator pulled the license of the English language news network of Iranian state broadcaster Press TV in 2012. Jesse points out, who do they think did it? Peter Lavelle? This makes no sense. Yep. Why would you punish a media? I feel like this is just, maybe they want to target RT, and this is kind of their way to do it. I mean, it's just, why would you target a media outlet? Like why? What if other countries did that to the United States? What if every time the U.S. does something completely hostile somewhere around the world, which by the way is all the time, what if the BBC, or excuse me, the BBC, wow, yeah, that's not a country, Ron. What if the UK was like, hey, all of our American bureaus, we're shutting them down because you guys illegally invaded Iraq, or you guys bombed Syria when you shouldn't have, or you guys are still exploiting Afghanistan, or you guys are still, you know, what if other countries did that to us? I mean, and I'm not saying what happened wasn't terrible. Of course it was. But why? Like, what does a media outlet have to do with that? What do the journalists that work for that media outlet have to do with that? Besides nothing. Abso-freaking-lutely nothing. So yeah, this is scapegoating. Balthazar, thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you very, very much for the super chat contribution. I appreciate it. Sake, can't miss Ron on my birthday. Happy birthday. Happy freaking birthday. Doing something over and over again and expecting different results is Peter Dow's resume. That is actually factually true. Peter Dow is a professional loser. That's his job. He loses elections over and over again, and he learns nothing. Wow. Kimmy wishes you a happy birthday too, by the way, Sake. Bobby points out Parliament debated this today and what to do regarding sanctions on Russia. England may bar their football team from attending the World Cup in Russia this summer. Frosty Buckets points out this is all against Jeremy Corbyn. Jennifer points out, but the memes. And Thorpe points out Waller's weapons of mass destruction started a war. Hopefully he doesn't find weapons of mass destruction now. It's a good point. Yeah, this is the same guy that was sure there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Now he's the hero of the United States. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And now they might pull them in the UK. By the way, Theresa May, right-wing politician. So for everybody in here in the United States that claims to be on the left, and yet they demonize RT because they think that Trump Russia is the solution to all their problems. I mean, how do you say Theresa May's on the right? She's against RT now. They're blaming a bureau for an attack. They're blaming a bureau, a news outlet. It makes zero sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. But Trump Russia, this whole Russia hysteria, has caused people to kind of abandon critical thinking in any type of reason. This is fear-mongering. This is scapegoating. This is xenophobia. That's what this is. I mean, that's definitionally what it is. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know you guys see this for what it is. But now it's having dangerous effects. Now there is overextended censorship. I mean, and I've said this before. I'll say it again because it's worth repeating. let's say, just for hypothetical sake, because I don't think this is going to be the case at all, but let's say, just for hypothetical sake, that everything Mueller's saying is 110% true. They get Trump on some kind of obstruction of justice. They find conclusive evidence. Trump goes down. Let's say, just for hypothetical sake, that happens. I don't see how it could at this point, but hey, who knows? Let's say it does. This was still not worth it. Everything that has happened with Trump Russia, quote unquote, so not worth it. The FBI is monitoring social media more than ever before. Silicon Valley gets to determine what is and isn't free speech. Black Lives Matter was demonized. DAPL was demonized. The Democratic Party is not going to do well in 2018 because instead of really doing an autopsy and really changing the party, they've just been distractathon over Russia 24/7 for a year and a flipping half. So we still have two right-wing parties in this country. Instead of really doing an autopsy and really doing true reform and maybe twisting their arm to the point where they had to get rid of superdelegates, we didn't do that. Because we had a Russia distractathon. Nancy Pelosi was able to deflect. Other leaders were able to deflect. And this is all largely because of the Russia distractathon, the xenophobic hysteria. Independent media has been demonized. They used the FARA Act, something that was put in place to prevent Nazis, not foreign bureaus. And they came down on Russia, and they came down on China next, because that's the likely next scapegoat. That's what they did. That's what they're still doing. How can anyone not see through this and not realize what's really going on? The intelligence agencies are not your friend, especially not if you're on the left and you're against war, which guess what? If you say you're on the left and you're not anti-war, guess what? You're not on the frickin' left. The left means you're anti-war. And there's no room for debate there. Be wary of evidence given to support the Russian narrative by allies that seemingly always support our war interests abroad, the Court of Public Opinion warns. It's a very good warning. I love RT in news in the UK. To blame them is a joke, Bobby points out. Jilly says RT is the only news I like RT too. I'm a regular on Peter Lavelle's show. I love that show. So yeah, I mean, this is really disturbing what's going on. All right, let's move on to some other topics here. All right, a couple of you guys have sent this same topic in because it's very trending right now. So I'll just go to one of the articles about it, but a couple of you guys sent the same topic, which, by the way, I'm making the announcement now. If you haven't sent a news article in, please refrain from doing so because we are almost out of time already. I'm going to go a few minutes after 11 since we started a little late. But yeah, we are already way behind. So if you haven't sent anything yet, please refrain from doing so because there's no way I would get to it today, even with the slight extension. All right. Trump fires Tillerson at state, replacing him with CIA's Pompeo. President Donald Trump fired Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Tuesday, that's today, and said he would nominate CIA Director Mike Pompeo to replace him, ending Tillerson's difficult tenure by tweeting an ouster that has been long expected and yet shocking in its abruptness. We disagreed on things, Trump said moments later, a diplomatic version of a difficult relationship with his top diplomat that included reports that Tillerson had called the president a moron in meetings with other officials. Speculation that Tillerson would be fired grew with those reports last fall. Trump's change puts an ardent foe of the Iran nuclear deal in charge of U.S.'s diplomacy as the president. as the president also dives into high-stakes talks with North Korea. Trump mentioned differences over how to handle the agreement, which he wanted to withdraw from, so we were not really thinking the same. Though Trump and other officials said he'd been considering replacing Tillerson for some time, the president said he'd made the decision only recently and by myself. Tillerson will be much happier now, Trump said. For Trump, the shift comes at a critical time for several key foreign policy priorities, including a decision on whether to withdraw the U.S. from the 2015 Iran deal that Pompeo has called disastrous. Tillerson has long pushed for Trump to remain in the agreement and have been pursuing a delicate strategy with European allies and others to try to improve or augment it to Trump's liking. It also comes amid a dramatic diplomatic opening with North Korea, with Trump set to hold a historic meeting in May. Pressuring North Korea with sanctions and other isolation measures had been a top Tillerson priority, and he had been one of the administration's more vocal advocates for holding talks. When Trump ultimately accepted the meeting, Tillerson was in Ethiopia, though he said he spoke with Trump about it shortly before it was announced. So there you go. Now we got Mike Pompeo. And again, this is the continued turnover at the White House. I mean, keep in mind, the White House has had more turnover than a third-party pyramid scheme. That's what the White House has had. That's what it continues to have, which is why Trump's incompetence is not necessarily a bad thing, because that means they're not getting terrible stuff done. Now, what's interesting here is that the North Korea thing is not necessarily bad. The fact that they're coming to the table. Should we be nervous about what might go on in that meeting? Sure. Trump is a very knee-jerk guy. He's a very not nice guy, and he conducts himself like a jerk quite often. That's true. However, the fact that talks are happening, that's not a bad thing. You know, I don't like the fact that Trump's president. I don't think anyone here does. But actually, some people, there are some people that like Trump that watch this stream. But regardless of how you feel about Trump, he is president. And the fact that they're talking is not a bad thing. Jesse points out, but Rachel Maddow says talking to other leaders is bad. Yeah, of course, because Trump's doing it. If a Democrat was in the White House, Rachel Maddow would be praising this, but because Trump's doing it, it must be bad. This is another example of what we've said on the Jimmy Dore show. This is another example of attacking Trump from the right, and that's what they've been doing. They've been attacking. Hey, you're not being hard enough on Syria. You're not being hard enough on North Korea. What do you guys want? World War III? Is that what you want? You dislike Trump that much that you want to see World War III happen? Do you know how insane that sounds? And this is just another for instance of that. And if Pompeo is going to be more discouraging on talks, well, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. So we'll see what happens in May. We'll see what happens with Iran. But yep, Tillerson's out. I'm honestly surprised it took this long. To tell you guys the truth, I'm totally surprised it actually took this long. But that's when it happened. All right, David sent an article, and a couple of you guys retweeted it. I'm going to go ahead and say that means you really want me to get to it. All right, so this is from David Hildebrand, who is running for California Senate and was a guest on this show in the past. He sends an article from Reuters. Spain's Amazon workers call for a 2-day strike over wages and rights. Over 1,000 Amazon workers in Spain plan to stage their first strike with a 2-day walkout to protest what unions claim are efforts to reduce employees' rights. Good. The strike, which has been called by Spain's largest union together with other unions, will take place March 21st and 22nd and will include 1,100 workers at an Amazon San Fernando logistic warehouse. The union claims the company aims to block salary increases, cut wages, and reduce payments for those working weekends or holidays as part of a new contract agreement. So strike and strike long and strike hard. Good for you, Spain. Good for you. And I hope Jeff Bezos hears it. That's awesome. Yeah. And you know what? I hope employees in the United States start following suit. Look, if there's one thing the teachers in West Virginia taught us, look, striking works. In other countries, they freaking strike. In Italy, they strike. In Spain, they strike. In France, they strike. In Germany, they strike. And you know what happens? They usually get what they want, or they get a fair compromise. That's what happens. In the U.S., we don't strike. In the U.S., unions have been demonized and gutted and made out to be the enemy, when in fact, that's not true. Unions are what protect workers. So I'm glad these workers are striking, and I want to see it happen here in the U.S. I want to see Amazon workers strike massively in the U.S. and not just the laborers. I want to see the programmers say, until everybody that works at this company gets a living wage and fair benefits, we ain't doing anything for you. We ain't running the inside. We ain't running the machine anymore, Bezos. You are a billionaire. You have more money than anyone could spend in 10 lifetimes. Generations of your family never need to worry about a dime. You could end world hunger if you wanted to. Yet, employees that work for you don't make a living wage. Employees that work for you pass out because you can't provide them with decent warehouse conditions. Employees that work for you need to pee in bottles or wear diapers because you make their routes so strenuous that there's no way they could physically make them on time. You're a predator. You're a predator, and we're sick of it. You're not a success story. You're not a good businessman. You're not something to strive towards. You're not something that cities should want in their community. You're a predator and a criminal. So good for Spain. I hope it works. David Hildebrand, thank you for sharing this article. Much appreciated. Terrence, it's Terrence's birthday today. Terrence, happy birthday, buddy. I hope you're having a killer one. So we got a couple birthdays today. Or I screwed up in the first place, and it's actually not Sake's birthday. It was Terrence's birthday the whole time. I don't know. I could have, who knows? All right, let's go to the chat. Balthazar, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. I was in Colorado and voted for Stein in 2016 because though I left the first vote on my ballot until the end, I realized Hillary Rodham Clinton did nothing to earn my vote. Mine neither. Jilly says, love crosstalk too. Thank you, Jilly. Derek says, Ron, you are 5 cabbage rolls away from being arrested by the feds. Good thing there's no cabbage rolls in my house right now. Pasta, take note. Don't make any cabbage rolls. Pasta lives here. He's a chef. I'm not a chef. Derek, Tillerson left because Trump always took all the KFC center breasts out of the bucket before he got to it. Oh, man. Yeah, he loves KFC so disgusting. Can anyone here tolerate KFC's food? I mean, I haven't eaten it in years because it's totally gross. And the last time I ate it, I was like a kid, and I was like, this is disgusting. But then you read about, like, they fry rats, they fry paper towel rolls, not to mention they're incredibly abusive to their chickens. Like beak to butt and stuff, and they boil them in a way that's completely unethical. Anyway. Cabbage and roommates don't mix, Ron. Is that a fart joke? I think that's a fart joke. Someone just submitted a fart joke, which means they win the chat for the day. We are not beneath fart jokes on this show. We will never, ever, ever be beneath fart jokes on this show. We will always be pro fart jokes. It's just how we roll here. Cabbage roll, huh? Uppity Bumpkin sends this in. Here's another example of ridiculous fear-mongering. At least that's what it looks like on the surface. Let's see. This is from the BBC. Russia will target U.S. midterm elections, says CIA chief. Mike Pompeo, who, by the way, here's our new guy. Here's the new guy, Mike Pompeo. The director of the CIA expects that Russia will target the U.S. midterm elections later this year. Mike Pompeo told the BBC there have been no significant diminishing of Russian attempts at subversion in Europe and the U.S. If by that does he mean that Russia is a nation with a bunch of people and some of them might be making goofy freaking memes hinting at U.S. politics? I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's people in England doing something like that. I'm sure there's people in Germany doing. I'm sure there's people here doing something like that. Again, if 13 Twitter trolls are that freaking powerful, I need to access the St. Petersburg Craigslist account because I need to put a job posting out there saying that I am hiring Twitter people to help get me a Netflix special. If 13 of them can throw an election, I bet 5 of them could get me a Netflix special. So let's make it happen. I need 5 people in Russia tweeting, make a meme of. I put a meme out there of Jesus arm wrestling Satan. It said, "Give Ron Placone a Netflix special or Satan wins." Some of you guys saw that on my Instagram. You might have liked it. I appreciate it. I posted that. I still don't have a Netflix special. I don't know. Maybe I needed to make it in broken English. I don't know what I did wrong, but I did something wrong because I still don't have my Netflix special. I'm still waiting on it, you guys. The U.S. intelligence community has said that it believes Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election. Well, first they colluded. Now they just interfered. What does interfere mean? Oh, it could mean a number of things. It could just mean a bunch of memes that are in barely comprehensible English. That's what it could mean. Interfered. These are our intelligence agency hard at work. And Mr. Pompeo is clear about his vision for the CIA under President Trump. We are the world's first espionage service. We are going to go out there and do our damnedest to steal secrets on behalf of the American people. And I wanted to get back on our front door. What does that mean? We are going to play offense all around the world, and we don't care what consequences exist. That's great. That's great. And there's probably people on the left celebrating this guy, by the way. There's probably people that claim they're on the left that are celebrating this. Celebrating that we have this guy that, hey, we're going to be on offense. We're going to get some secrets. Russia, we're coming. We're having an intelligence battle with you that could mean a real battle. Who knows? Abigail asks, is Pompeo trying to invade Russia? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Balthazar, thank you again for your super chat contribution. I appreciate it so much. Thank you very, very much, Balthazar, as I drop my guitar pick. Balthazar says, what's nasty, stinks terribly, runs shittily, and won't leave no matter how many ways one tries to get it to go away. HRC. Fart joke, not a fart joke. Well, I saw her speech yesterday, and it was very, very disgusting. Or at least I saw the part everyone was talking about. The all the states are looking backwards. You know what I tweeted? I was like, Betsy DeVos. Man, Betsy DeVos really embarrassed herself with that 60 Minutes interview. I don't think anything's going to top that today. And then Hillary Clinton said, hold my beer. I got this. Man. I can top this. I'm going to say something totally ignorant and stupid, and I'm going to show everybody why I couldn't beat Donald Trump. I will show everybody why, because I will say something so ignorant about almost every state in the country except for the coasts that I was guaranteed to win. Unbelievable. Oh. Yeah, no, that was so dumb. Anyway, you guys all saw it. Winkle, don't text and drive. That's very dangerous. Don't do it. Don't do it. Joseph says Trump is a deep state puppet. Pretty much all presidents are. Yeah, you're right. Dwayne points out that Obama said to Romney, the 80s called and they want their foreign diplomacy back. That's a callback. In 2012, Mitt Romney was saying how Russia is some big threat to us, and he was laughed at. He was laughed at by everybody else. Everybody laughed at him. Now we're amidst a new Red Scare. They laughed at Mitt Romney, and rightfully so. Now we're amidst a new Red Scare. Tommaso Young says, we got to stop Kevin De Leon. I'm with you. Kevin De Leon is the other corporatist candidate, along with Dianne Feinstein. I really hope it doesn't come to a runoff between the two of them. I really hope it doesn't, because we don't really have good options if that's the case. Although, we're trying to get Kevin De Leon on this show. We're trying to get him on this show. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he... I've had some headbuttings on this show. You guys have seen that. So I don't know if somebody like Kevin De Leon would want to come on. I don't know if Anthony Rendon's going to come on. Pasta, who books the show, says that I've been way too hard on him for him to come on. So we'll see. So it's good. We have a guy who's already making thinly veiled threats to Russia, who's now running things over with Trump. That's just, man, sleep tight, everybody. Sleep freaking tight. Let's see here. Guys, we are pretty much out of time. Yeah, we're pretty much out of time. So I'm going to keep my promise. And I'm going to say, David, the book that David recommends is Surveillance Valley. It's enlightening and disturbing. Features Amazon, the CIA, the Geek Squad, and the FBI, just the tip of the iceberg. It's about the military history of the internet and surveillance on the internet. And that book, again, is called Surveillance Valley. David recommends it. I'll give it a Get Your News On With Ron retweet. Sounds very interesting. And I shall try to check it out. I've been listening to a lot of books lately. That's been what I've been doing, because I've been listening to them while I'm at the gym. And I got to be honest, I really like it. There's even this new YouTube thing I found called The School of Life. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they do these like 7-minute summaries of a bunch of philosophers. It's just been a really nice refresher. And in some cases, I'm like finally getting into things for the first time. So anyway, I've been liking that a lot. All right, guys, we are totally out of time. If I did not get to your article, I apologize. Our show is growing. This show is growing a lot. Let me get to a couple chats. Tommaso says, I love the headbutts. Keep them up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bobby says, great show again, Ron. Hate that I missed the start. No worries. You rock, Ron. You guys are so kind. You guys are making me feel very good and warm inside. Guys, thank you so much. We got to less than, we got to about a third, which is typical. Typically on this show, now, I'll keep in mind, when this show started, and it was just over on Live Me, which wasn't that long ago, this show is still very new. But when we were just doing the Live Me thing, it started, and it was like maybe 2 or 3 of us that were just sharing articles. Like, that's all it was. It was a blast. But it was seriously about like 3 of us. Joe, you were around. Kimmy, you were around. Uppity Bumpkin, you were around. And if I'm forgetting anybody, I apologize. But there was literally a small handful of us. And because you guys kept coming and because you guys kept showing up and kept participating, other people were like, this is cool. I want to participate too. And now you guys, it keeps growing. And the reason it keeps growing is because you guys are so freaking awesome. And you send cool stuff to me every freaking morning. Every morning you guys do that. Every Tuesday through Friday, at least. Not every morning. We don't do it every morning. But every Tuesday through Friday, you guys do that. And you make it awesome. And thank you guys so much for doing that. Balthazar, thank you again for another Super Chat contribution. You are so generous today, and I appreciate it so very, very much. Thank you so much. HRC won the popular vote by 2.8 million. She won California by 3.4 million. She literally lost popular votes everywhere else. Love your show, Ron. Yeah, you know what? She did get more votes though overall. And you know who the establishment blames? Everybody except for the Electoral College. She could have, and I hate to revisit HRC stuff, but here's the thing. when Al Gore got screwed over in 2000, he took up a cause. He took up global warming. And, I don't agree with Al Gore on everything. This isn't about, policies. But this is about what the man did after. The man took up a cause, and his cause was global warming, and that's what he ran on. Hillary Clinton totally could have taken on the Electoral College as her cause. She could have been like, you know what? I got screwed over by this, so I got personal vests. But this system is not right. It's archaic. It's based on slavery, and it should have been gone years ago. And I'm committed to getting rid of this archaic system. And whether you agreed with me or not, I hope that you see how much this hurts our democratic experiment. And if she would have done that, I would have been like, you know what? I really don't like Hillary Rodham Clinton. I never was able to vote for her. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I never voted for her. I never will. But I applaud her for that. That's cool that that's what she's doing after all this. Kate points out she's not even advocating for paper ballots. So here's the thing. Hillary Clinton has really proved who she is. There's one thing that Hillary cares about. You know what that is? Herself. Every speech that she's done since the election has been about promoting herself. She wrote a book of blame, blaming everybody but herself. And in the speech she gave, I guess the speech was yesterday. I'm not sure exactly when the speech happened, but the clips were circulating yesterday. In that speech that she gave over in India, what did she do? She patted herself on the back. She blamed the entire country. She blamed the country. That's what she did. My dad's a really smart guy. But we don't agree on everything. He voted for Hillary 3 times. He voted for her in the 2008 primary. He voted for her in the 2016 primary. He voted for her in the 2016 general. Was he ever thrilled about her as a politician? No. Did he ever like her policies? No. He just thought that she had the best chance of winning, and he didn't want to see a Republican. He voted for her 3 times. And he lives in one of those backward states. He's one of the people that she just called backwards. He's a professor at Carnegie Mellon University. And even if he wasn't, that doesn't matter. That's not the point I'm trying to make. Whether or not he was a professor or was unemployed, it doesn't matter. Nor does it matter for anybody else. The point is there are people like him that voted for her 3 times. Or there are people I know in swing states that voted for her in the general and then cried their eyes out in the car after because they were appalled by what happened during the primary. They were inspired by Bernie only to have that hope crushed. And they casted a vote for Hillary Clinton, and then they cried after. I know people that did that. That's why I don't voter shame. That's one of the many reasons why I don't voter shame. And she just looked those people in the eye and just rubbed salt in the wound. Jesse points out that was her. Jesse lives in a swing state. She voted. And she cried after. Because she didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. But she felt like her arm was twisted into submission. Pasta, my executive, my show booker and executive producer. He's executive producer because all you guys are executive producers. You guys do, by definition, executive produce this show because you bring me the stories. I mean, how arrogant can somebody be to say that about this country? To say that about the people that live here and the people that voted for her 3 times, some of them. To then say, you're backwards. All the places that matter voted for me. The coast voted for me. Well, guess what, Hillary Rodham Clinton? I live on the coast. I live in California, and I didn't vote for you. And part of the reason I didn't vote for you was because of all my friends in swing states that felt like they had to vote for you and cried because of it. I lived in a state where no matter what I did, it wasn't going to affect the outcome at all. So I had the privilege to not even think twice about voting my conscience. I didn't even think twice. There was no doubt in my mind. Why would I vote for you? You did nothing to earn my vote. In fact, you told me to go get screwed. Every progressive in this country, Hillary Clinton looked you in the eye and said, I don't want or need you. And guess what? Turns out that wasn't the case, because her message was inspiring to nobody. Maybe if she saw what populism was doing in the country, even in red places, she would have listened a little bit and she could be president right now. She chose not to. And it's not my fault. Hillary's not president. It's not Jill Stein's fault. It's not Russia's fault. It's Hillary Clinton's hubris fault. It's the DNC's fault. And it's the fact that she ran the worst campaign in my lifetime and probably yours too. And you can add the entire country that's not on the coast to the list of people she blamed. She's blamed Russia. She's blamed the voters. She's blamed feminists. Yes, she has blamed feminists. She's blamed millennials. She's blamed... I mean, it's pointless for us to revisit this, but yeah, that speech last night, that was beyond disgusting. That was beyond disgusting. And honestly, anybody that still defends her at this point, how could you? Xander points out, I would almost have liked to have seen her be president in 2008. At least then she would have lost in 2012 and go away. Now we have Trump, and she is still going to be around blaming everyone else. Well, she just would have blamed everyone if she lost in 2012. All right, guys, we really need to go. I told you guys I'd send you off with a couple tunes, and I practice what I preach. All right. So Uppity Bumpkin points out that if I was told by the age of 23 that Santa wasn't real, that means the year would have been 1929. That's because I turned 27 in the year 1933, and I've been 27 ever since. Here's a little story as to how. David, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. I appreciate that. You said thank you. Keep speaking truth. I appreciate that, David. Thank you very much. Frederick says they should start by getting rid of superdelegates. Agreed. Thank you guys so much. Allison Hartson is going to be our guest on March 21st, by the way. We're going to be talking to Allison Hartson. She is one of the 3 progressives that is running for state senate, along with Pat Harris and David Hildebrandt. Those are the progressives. Those are the only people you should be considering casting a vote for. That was a wrong chord. So I've been 27 since the year 1933, and here's a little story as to how. I've been 27 since 33. What the hell does society want from me? I've been 27 since 33. Age is just a myth to me. I've been 27 since 33. You can say I'm an old soul. I've been 27 since 33, and I still need rock and roll. Robbie went down to see the devil, said you wanna go down too. I said, Robbie, that seems a little bit heavy for me, but you do you. 3 drinks later, I was there by his side. He said, hey, Ron, you wanna go for a ride? I said, look, Robbie, I just wanna make it through. 27 since 33. I've seen it all, but not all seen me. I've been 27 since 33. Someday I'll get that vasectomy. I've been 27 since 33. My brain it takes its toll. I've been 27 since 33, and I'm never growing old. Robert said, hey, devil, I want to be the best that there will ever be. The devil said, hey, fool, I can do that for you, but you gotta do something for me. You'll be the best there'll ever be, but at 27 you'll die. And your friend over there with the long red hair will be the same age forever. He'll be the same age forever. He'll be the same age forever that he is tonight. 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33. I'll be on 27 since 33. Guys, thank you so much. I will send you out with the Revolution song like I promised. And guys, we are tweaking. We're figuring out what's going on. I know sometimes on the stream, the music gets clipped. I got to figure out why that is. I'm working on it. So I'm sorry if it sounds like shit for you folks over at YouTube. We're working on it. Guys, thank you so much for your support. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tune in, tune often. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone. That's where you can tweet me articles. RonPlacone.com. Got some tour date announcements. Tour dates are always coming in. Also, if you are so able, Patreon.com/Ron Placone. My Patreon is one level. You give it whatever level you're comfortable with, whether it's $1, whether it's $5, whether it's anything in between, whether it's even more. Hey, whatever you're comfortable with is awesome, and you all get the same content. No matter what you give, you get the exact same content, which includes my album when it's finished. It's going to be delivered to your inbox. It includes free show tickets. You get to go to my shows for free if you're a patron. It includes discounts on T-shirts that just came in. It includes a podcast once a week. It includes another piece of content once a week. So please do consider it if you are so able. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys send me articles, and that's how we build this show. I am not prepared at all. When I log in here, I don't know what's going on in the world. You guys tell me what's going on. And because you guys are so freaking good at it, we're growing. We continue to grow. Help support this show if you can, because I want to expand it to 2 hours. But yeah, that's my next goal over on the Patreon is an equipment goal and expanding this to 2 hours. I will send you guys off with the Revolution song via request. And I love you all very much. Differences, what it means to be insane, having to choose between more and more, not what it means to play the game. Why do you put your mind at ease to ignore this big scheme? Why do you like to sit and pretend when you always know the end? Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. Go tell the DSA, TV, NSA, it's time for revolution. Throwing you a single from, not what it means to compromise. Some call that strength and rhetoric, but I just call it telling lies. When you reach a point of crisis, status quo, it needs to change. If you can't understand that truth, well, it's time to get out of the way. Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. Go tell the NSA, stop listening to what we say. It's time for revolution. Wise man said that love's the answer. This fool knows that to be true. 'Cause I'm not ready to give up yet. Long as there's still a me and you. I'll tell the BBC, I'll tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. I'll tell the DSA, GP, NSA, it's time for revolution. Get your news on with Ron. If you want to know what's going on, we're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. If you want to know what's going on, let's hope they don't start World War III. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. If you want to know what's going on, get our news on today. Thank you guys so much. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Allison Hartson's going to be on the show March 21st. Got some guests we're working on. Should have some more announcements soon. At Ron Placone on Twitter. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. RonPlacone.com. Got some tour dates I'm working on. Got a lot announced already and more coming soon. I love you all very much. Stay safe in this crazy world of ours. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Pacific!